Okay. Happy Thursday. Happy 12 o'clock on Thursday. I'm a little excited that we live in New England and not in Maryland, Washington, or Pennsylvania, where they got a ridiculous amount of snow. And I apologize for all those that love to ski. I'm not a fan. Give me summer year round and the world of Maine, and I would be there 24/7. So, would love to hear before we start really quickly from 3 people, something good that's happened between January 1st and January 9th. It can be personal or it can be in business. You gotta go quick.
We just took a listing yesterday.
Yay, congratulations.
Thank you.
I may have found a buyer for one of my listings, and I'm also getting the sale of their house from that.
Nice, congratulations. What else? One more. We got this. One more good thing.
I did get a new buyer. So hopefully, we will be able to find something for them soon. The market has been crazy though.
Yeah. My feedback to you is hope is not a strategy, and go out there and find it off market. And we talk about that a lot over the course of time. So we will definitely have that conversation. Okay. So does everybody have a copy of their book? Okay. Very cool. If you don't have a copy of this book, Amazon has it, 2-day shipping. You can get one from your market center if they have any. Grab a copy of the book. So a question was asked. I've never been to a book club and I don't know the layout. And it's funny because I've been to tons of book clubs, and the layout could be very different. So what I've decided we're going to do with this book club is we're going to go through all the pages. So that's why having the book is hugely important. We're going to go through all the pages, and there's a core concept that we're going to focus on. And then there's a personal reflection question. Now I'm going to send you the recording, and I'm also going to send you the PowerPoint from whatever we cover that week, so that you can also hit those personal reflection questions, because I think those personal reflection questions are hugely important. Now, I am truly open to feedback. If we do it week 1 and week 2 and you do not like the layout and you want to do it differently, let's do that. A lot of times when people teach the MREA, they do it as a training. I want to do it as a true book club where we actually read the pages, and then after we read the pages, we reflect. So this one might be a little weird, especially if you haven't read all of the pages, and yet there's opportunity to reflect. And I really do want to pause, ask the questions. When we met last week, I said, let's read pages 1 through 95. As I was building out the presentation, I was like, yeah, we're not going to get through all 95 pages. So I'm going to say up front that we're going to get through what we get through. And then for next week, we're going to read up to page 117. And the goal would be to finish whatever we didn't hit today up to page 117. The cool thing about my book club and you all joining it is we are in control. It's our choice. We can go slow, we can go fast. And if we don't finish it, I'm not going to feel guilty, because book clubs are book clubs. They're not trainings, and I don't have to finish a book club in one session. Sound good? How do you feel about that? Somebody give me a up front. We're good? Cool. Okay, here we go.
I have a question.
There's 2 of you, and you're both talking. Go ahead, Melissa. That's fine. Do you want to put it in the chat and then I can answer it? Okay. Or you can just send me a message after. Okay. Let me share my screen. So, present. Does everyone see my screen? It should say MREA 2025 Book Club. Perfect. So those that don't know me, my name is Tiffany Hampton. I have been with KW since 2013. I've been in real estate since 1997. And I've been in leadership since I've joined KW. I'm a MAPS coach. I'm a productivity coach in 9 market centers. I do consulting, and I also do tons of training. So if you ever have questions, just reach out. My email is tiffanyhampton@kw.com. I try to keep it simple, and I am here to support you. So here we go. And it says no. There we go. So the layout of the way I built this presentation is I give you the pages, and then I give you the core concept, and then we ask a reflection question, okay? So in pages 21 and 22 was the story of Gary Keller, where he shared the story of the shepherd's son who learns to aim high to hit his target at night. The story serves as a metaphor for setting ambitious goals in real estate. Would love to hear, for those that have read it, what did you get from that story? Okay. The point of a book club is everybody communicates. So I'll move on from that and then ask the next question. And this one, I do want participation because you did not have to read the book to know how to answer this question.
I'll
Personal,
make a comment, but I don't want to
thank
be
you.
the only one commenting all the time.
That's fine. Make a comment, Mary.
So one of the, I said this last week that, I set a goal, which I thought was a lofty goal. And when I realized I reached it, I stopped really doing business. So, you definitely have to set that your aim higher than what you really want to reach, because I am kind of at a plateau and I need to get over that plateau.
100%. And what I loved about the story is if you shoot at goal, you're going to miss. It's like, and I'm in Maine, I don't hunt, and yet this is very relevant. So I'm going to take it from people that have hunted before. When you go out and you hunt, if you shoot where the deer is or was, well, if you shoot where the deer is, a lot of times it's where the deer was, because the deer moves, right? So when you're thinking about where you're going to aim, you always aim in a different place, because that's really going to drive you. So the personal reflection question, and again, I'm going to send these slides so you don't have to write it. And yet I would like at least one person other than Mary to answer. Aim high to overcome challenges and hit your target. What big goal have you set for yourself that requires aiming higher? Don't be shy. There's no judgment in this.
For me, it would be to the daily tasks to I probably aim, or my calendar says to do a whole lot more than I actually am able to accomplish, but it's probably, at least filling the calendar and having a plan to go
Right.
to shoot for.
Right. Because I would say if you created your calendar and you put just enough items in that calendar and you hit it, are you missing opportunity?
Mm-hmm.
And the answer is probably yes. That's a great one. Does anyone else have something that they would want to share about that specific personal reflection? Right. There's
a double. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I made it a goal to double whatever real estate transactions I did last year.
Okay. And did you put a plan together and to make that happen? Do you have the...
I started to, but I haven't been implementing it.
Okay. And implementation is huge. So keep coming to training, keep coming to things that we're putting on that is really based on what it takes to grow your business. And for those that have done 6 personal perspectives, in 6 personal perspectives, there's one of them is make learning based a priority, and I'm butchering it, but that's essentially what it is. You don't learn for doing sake or for learning sake, you learn for doing sake. Because at the end of the day, when you start building your learning for doing sake. You're not just like, if you're never going to touch an expired, why would you go to an expired training, right? If you're never going to cold call or have conversations with people that you don't know, why would you ever do that? So these are just things to think about as you're building out your systems and models. Only go to the training that's going to support the systems and model and the growth that you decide you want to do. You don't have to do every single training.
Can I just say something?
Yep.
Turn the mic down.
Oh, hold on, sorry. Can you hear me okay? We're on two computers here.
Yeah, go for
Okay.
it.
So there's a quote that I also find to be very helpful. It's called align your habits to be something more, not just to do something more. I think a lot of us as realtors, we wear a lot of hats. And I know, like one of the women was just saying, her calendar is full of all these things and she doesn't get to them. I feel like figuring out which ones to prioritize so that you become something more, so that you're not just busy doing all the things, but it's actually, those are the priorities that are going to, it's kind of like doing less brings you further if you know the right activities to do to bring you further along. You know what I mean?
And we're going to be going, our next book is The One Thing. And that book is exactly that, right? Like, are you focused on your 20%? There's to-do list and there's should-do list, right? You take your to-do list, which should have 25 things on it, and you knock it down to 5. That's the 20% of that 25. And then you take that 5 and you knock it down to 1. So just doing that is hugely important. Absolutely. All right. So then, and what you're going to learn as we're going to do all of Gary Keller's books first. So we're going to do MREA, then we're going to do The One Thing, and then we're going to do Shift. And what's really cool, and once you start doing these book clubs and you start reading them over and over again, they all have common themes, and all of his training and classes have common themes because they're proven and repeatable. So on this one, it says big questions and the top of the world. Asking big questions and setting ambitious goals prepares you for success. Just as climbers prepare for Mount Everest by envisioning their entire journey, real estate agents must plan for long-term success. A couple of things that I personally can share on this. Number one, this asking big questions, it's a one thing process, right? You can ask big and broad questions. You can ask big and specific questions. You can ask small questions and broad ideas. You can ask big questions and small ideas, right? When you're thinking about how you're asking the questions, your big questions are hugely important as long as you add in specific ways to get there. So if your goal is to do 24 transactions, that's your big goal. What are the specific action items you have to take to get you there? The reflection question on this is, what's the biggest question you can ask about your career, and how will the answer shape your actions? So whether you're newer or older, right, in this business, if you're newer in this business, you got into this business, what is the one question you can ask about your career? And if you've been around a little bit, what's the one question you can ask about your career this year? We'd love to hear some ideas. And again, reflection question, if something pops to your mind, share. If not, that's okay. Just these are some journaling opportunities in the future. Anybody?
Yes, more so is like, is this a job or is it a career? Are you looking long-term? So if you're in here for a year or two, big differences. Even if you're new or old to the business, is this long-term? Because long-term, you're going to nurture and do things differently than if you're just trying to get a deal and be done with it. So I guess
Absolutely.
basically how long you plan on being in this career.
Yeah, and that's 100% true. You know, it's funny. So this revelation this morning, because I'm always thinking. If I'm not working, I'm thinking. It's a blessing and a curse because my brain never shuts off. However, this morning I was processing. I've been a MAPS coach for it'll be 2 years in June, right? And this morning I had a revelation. My journey as a real estate agent and my journey as a MAPS coach are very similar, because my journey as a real estate agent, it took about 2 years before people really knew I was in real estate, really trusted me in real estate. And because I was doing the activities, they knew me, they liked me, and they knew how to refer business to me, right? When And so after 2 years, my business started coming to me. Those first 2 years, I really had to work for it. My journey in MAPS coaching was very much like that. Like, I had a revelation 2 weeks ago that I've proven myself as a MAPS coach. People know me, like me, trust me. They know how to refer me. And now I'm starting to get referrals in that industry. So whether you're rebuilding your business, you're a newer agent, or it's not where you need it to be, just know as you're building those relationships, it takes a little time to get you there. Any additional thoughts as we talk about big questions and really understanding that piece of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead. I was just going to say that it's really hard for me to stay focused on asking, am I working on the 20% that'll really move my business forward, or am I working on the busy 80% that's just trying to get things checked off? So is what I'm doing right now, is this something that will really advance me or grow my business?
Absolutely.
The other thing I was gonna say, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
All right, I'm still dealing with this sound. It's who you hang around with too. The people that you associate with, and then if somebody's already done something that you want to do, like you said, ask them the questions, especially newer agents.
Absolutely, 100%. Anyone else have anything to share around that? And then I'm going to speak to Kathleen. Actually, I'm going to ask, does anyone have an idea or something that they're doing right now that keeps them in the 20% that you find successful? Yeah, it's a struggle for everyone. So when you look at, number one, I do believe in mind dumps. Number one, our brain takes in 60,000 thoughts every single day from all kinds of different places, and you have to dump all that. So when you turn around and say, these are all the things I could do, should do, right? Having that down, and then going through that and saying, which of these items will bring me new business? And when you think of which of these items will bring you new business, think of the things, not only like lead generation, yes, lead generation, and we're going to change the name lead generation. You're building relationships, right? Building relationships 100%, yes. And sometimes it's, I have a client that I've listed their property, and one of the things I need to do is make sure that they see their pictures, right? So I send them the photography for their house, and they reply back, hey, this is great photography. Now, how can I take that and make that a 20% action item? It's simply by saying, you know, I really appreciate that you like the photos and for all the feedback for the photos. Is there anyone else in your world? Hold on, someone I'm getting feedback from. Is there anyone else in your world that would benefit from great photography? So now you've connected with, this is the important action item to stay in relationship with your person and deliver high value, and you've asked the referral question. So you go under contract with someone. When you go under contract with someone, I'm so glad we went under contract. Here's the next steps. Is there anyone else, and I'm making general statements, you're going to change the verbiage every time, but is there anyone else in your world that is hoping to be under contract in the next 6 months that I should talk to? Right? Every time you have a conversation with somebody, whether they're a client or a relationship, there's an opportunity to have a conversation, and there's an opportunity to ask for business. Any other thoughts or questions on that? Okay. All right. And this one is, success doesn't have to take a lifetime. By following proven models and taking intentional actions, you can achieve your goals faster. Gary Keller says you can be anywhere you desire to be in 5 years. You follow systems, models, you ask great questions, and you dream big, right? Everyone on this stream can retire in 5 years if that's what you so desire, right? and again, these books, they fall together, going to the one thing. What are the someday goals? What is the 5-year goal? What is the 1-year goal? What is the 1-month goal? What is the 1-week goal? What is the 1-day goal, right? When you know what success looks like, how do I do it in 5 years? How do I do it in 3 years? If you only want to do it in 3 years, it is totally possible. Had I been part of Gary Keller in 1997 versus 2013, I would probably be living a different lifestyle. And it's just because the systems and models that we learn are huge. So the reflection question on this is, what steps can you take today to accelerate your path to success in real estate without waiting for decades?
Tiffany, it's Audrey. I just got my thing off of mute, so I'm sorry. I didn't say anything before. But my thing is that I'm an accountant as well as being a real estate agent. And so for like 20 years, I've never said, oh, can I help you with real estate? I just thought of like, why haven't I been asking them, do they know anyone who needs or is going to have like a real estate transaction this year? And it just dawned on me like, why didn't I do that before? Like, but anyway, so that's what I'm going to be doing now. And I'm going to be doing more tracking. Like, I don't know how many of my clients actually, I have 800 clients or more than 800, but I don't know how many of them own. I don't know how many of them rent, so maybe they need my help. Like, I don't know why I didn't think of it, but this year I bought these cute little calendars with the magnet, and I'm going to put my business card on the top. And that's what I'm going to do. Like every day I see like 12 people, I'll hand out my little calendars, and I'll mention, do you have anyone that you can refer to me besides doing, the accounting work?
Absolutely. And keep in mind, there's marketing and prospecting. Sending out something or dropping something off, that's marketing. The prospecting is asking for the business over and over and having additional conversations. So absolutely, I love that.
Yeah. So I hope, like, if I see 12 people, hopefully I'll get one person that will do it. If that happens 5 days a week, that's a lot.
Works. 100%.
Yeah.
So on pages 27 and 28, it says the big secret and an invitation, right? Success is really, real estate is simpler than it seems. The key is to focus on simple, actionable solutions rather than complex, abstract ideas. This is where if you've ever seen the 2 slides, creativity and models, like if you have creativity as your first and models as your second, it's an upside down triangle. And if the triangle is on its head with 1 point, is it stable? The answer is no, right? And that slide is on, I believe it's on page 27. And then if you have the base where the models are in place and your creativity is on the top, you built your business on stability, and that's how you win, right? The goal is to win. So what simple actions can you take today to improve your real estate business, and how can you avoid overcomplicating your approach? This question, I mean, this is one of my favorite reflection questions that we've gotten, and it's page 37 that has the model, the creativity model, and the models, model creativity unstable. So what simple actions can you take today to improve your real estate business, and how can you avoid overcomplicating your approach?
I think for me, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. You started.
For me, I think it's really, you just constantly feel like you should be touching every different area of marketing. And I keep flipping around, and it's just, if you could just take even 1 or 2 or max 3 and just forget about the rest of it. Just focus on those 3 things. That would make, I think you'd get there a lot quicker. I know I would get there a lot quicker, and it would make my life a lot less crazy if I would stop going. But I think I should be doing that. And I should be door knocking, and I should be doing expired, and I should be doing FSBOs, and really just figure out what you're good at and then expand on that. And that's what I'm always battling with.
Yeah. To expand upon that, we talk about a 3-legged stool. The one is a database. The other 2 are lead generation ideas. There's 3. There's a reason why there's 3 and not 8. We want a 3-legged stool, not an 8-legged table. Go ahead, Larisi.
No, I was just gonna piggyback off of that and say, focus on one or two niches and then maybe focus on trying to conclude your one thing a day rather than setting 15 tasks you're not gonna get done.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, right? We don't want to do that because it doesn't. And there are 7 true system lead generation, and there's hundreds of sub lead generation systems. But all 7, first off, my personality doesn't even fit all of those 7 types of lead generation. So when you're thinking about the different types of lead generation, what fits your personality, what feeds you so that you're really, okay, I can do this and I don't burn out. Because when you're working in an area that you're not good at, or you don't, well, and I shouldn't say not good at, because you can get good at things, but if you're not passionate about it, you're going to burn out and you're not going to want to learn it. So if you are not a networker, you should not network, right? If you're not a cold caller for relationships, you should not do that. There are 7 different ways. You just have to pick 2, and it's better to pick the 2 that you enjoy. Thoughts or questions around that?
I'll just chime in and say, as a newer agent, I think these are good points for me to hear, because I know I have days where, you see all the classes or the trainings and blah, 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 and you're just like, oh, I don't know which direction to go in. So I like that. And I was on a different networking Zoom last week that's mostly agents just from all over the country, not necessarily KW folk. And I got in a breakout room with an agent from Los Angeles. Hope she's doing okay. And she's been in the business 35 years. So that was kind of one of the questions I posed to her. And she came back and said, Marie, find your niche and stick to it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And she said, your business is going to grow organically from that.
Yeah. Because
So-
I truly passionately believe, as a newer agent, the reason why agents leave the industry so quickly is not because they can't be successful in it. It's
Right.
because the stress of, it's going to be 2 years before it really starts coming back to you. And there are outliers to that. However, like, you get to breathe after 2 years because people know you, trust you, and know that you're in business. And the most success, there are outliers, because there's a couple of agents that they were just meant to be agents and they took off and they just made it, right? And then there's the rest of us that we just needed to work a little harder and understand that those 2 years of doing the right thing will get us to where we need to be. And it's okay. We need the now business, and we're planning for future business. I love that.
I'll step
And
into,
also-
oh, go ahead, Mark.
And it's also about trust your gut. Like, if you see something, a class that you're like, I don't know if I really, don't take it. If
Right.
it doesn't jump out at you that say I should be in there, it's probably not the class for you. Find something else, because what you're good at, expand on that, because there's certain things that I'm not a good networker. You won't see me going to networking events that well. It's so
100%. I love that. Go ahead, Melissa.
I'll go to the networking events instead of him. But what I was gonna say is the formation of system that they put in place at our offices with the DTD2s, I didn't realize it till Mark really made me accountable to doing them. And I'm glad you mentioned that not everyone's good at cold calling or networking. Find what it is you're good at. And what I've really realized is it's nice, once you've reached out a number of times, that these people will actually respond back to you, even if you haven't talked to them in my 20 years that I've been in business. So
Okay. I agree. Caitlin.
Yeah, so most feedback I get is when I call my SOI, and I have so much fear around doing it. People I know or just haven't talked to in a long time, and then when I do, it's like I have these amazing conversations, and then I start to get leads, and it's just funny how it's like, and then I get
Yeah.
energy from these conversations. And so anyways, it really is so simple, just not that easy sometimes.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I don't remember what, I would taught something, and I taught, like, it is uncomfortable. I don't know where, as children, we do anything, right? Until we hit like that second level of elementary, where we literally, nothing is impossible. And then somewhere, somehow, things started becoming impossible. And that's such a wrong statement, because nothing's impossible. So I don't know where that was taught. And thankfully, you're all with Keller Williams, and you have, because it's a be, do, achieve. Who do you have to become? What do you have to do to achieve the goals? That B piece, if you skip over the B, who do I have to become? The rest of it's a lot harder, very much a lot harder. All right, why are you here? Pages 31 to 33. The mindset and structure of a successful real estate team is similar to running a business. Whether in management or sales, the key roles and systems are the same. So whether you're a solo agent or you are a team already in place, you are still a real estate team. You're just a team of one. So how can you start thinking of your real estate career as a business rather than a job? What changes would this mindset shift bring? This is a huge one for all of you that have lived your life as a W-2, right? You just literally spent however many years as a W-2 making other people rich, right? Now you have the opportunity to make yourself rich. And there are days I still ask this question, but at the very beginning, I asked this question a lot. If I was my own employer, would I fire myself? And if I was my own employee, would I think I need to be fired, right? And I would ask myself that question. Did the activities I do today constitute a paycheck or not constitute a paycheck? Because that's what it really comes down to. Did I do the activities that I was supposed to do to get paid? Because if you are working for somebody else, you're working for that person. They're giving you the activities to do so they can get paid. You're just getting a piece of it, and you're getting a very small piece of their profit. Now you have the opportunity to get all of your profit. Anybody have any thoughts around how can you start thinking of your real estate career as a business rather than a job?
I think for me, time blocking and having a set schedule and somewhere to go to work, to kind of hold myself more accountable, other than staying home where I see the mounds of laundry and the dirty table and, kids' toys everywhere, whatever it might be. So I think for me, that's huge.
Yeah. It took me a really long time to not care that the laundry did not get done between the hours of work and work, and that the dishwasher didn't get filled during the hours of work to work. And I got really good at time blocking. Okay, I'm going to do laundry at this time. And I know myself really well. Like, first off, I start my day at 4:30. I don't care when you start your day. The first 5 hours is in the morning, right? I start my day at 4:30. By 5 o'clock, anything that's gonna be in my head all day long, like dishes in the sink or laundry that needs to be done, I get that started in the morning so that I can move forward. Anybody else have any other thoughts? What changes would this mindset bring? Like, if you literally ran it like a business instead of a job, what mindset shift would that bring?
I think you'd really be showing up, and it would be really serious. Like now, I have to admit, I went to a family reunion last year and I wasn't focused and I was really scattered and I took a lot of great classes, but I wasn't focused. So I didn't come back and really implement what I learned. And one thing I heard this morning on the WOW call that Kathy Manchester does, she asked how much you made in 24, how much you want to make in 25. And then she said, what are you willing to do differently? And what are you going to implement? So I love learning. I love this and everything, and I will learn it from it, but I really need to start implementing and time blocking and really making things happen. Yesterday, I did go to the office and I got so much done and I don't get it done at the house and everything. So I think I'll make a schedule, and I really have to show up to the office and do things.
Yeah, I would say to that, if number one, when you schedule yourself to take a class or a session or whatever it is, what's the one thing you would like to get out of it? And then after that session, did I get a one thing, or did I get that one thing that it was worthwhile? And if you take this session and you're like, I got nothing out of it, I'm okay with you not showing up next week, because I did not do my job to make sure that you got one thing to grow your business forward. And that should be for any trainer, any class, if you did not get something from it, that's our fault, not yours. That's our fault.
I was going to say, Tim Lindsay says that the best thing is, the one greatest thing about real estate is we're our own boss. The worst thing is that we're our own boss. And I completely agree. Is like everything you sign up for, 100% look at what is my goal to get out of this. If you don't see anything out of it, or it's not, you go in without a goal in place, it's going to be a waste of your time. So
100%. Mary, go for it.
So that we incorporated ourselves. So we are employees of our corporation, even though we are under Keller Williams. So with that, it gives me a mindset of, if I am getting in order for me to get my check every month, I have to make sure that my bank account has that in it, plus my expenses. So that is one way to think of, instead of being an individual that is, put your money in a different account, then don't mix it with your personal money. And that helps you visualize what you need to make in order to give yourself a salary. So even during COVID, I really had nothing for 2 years. I worked with a lot of older people, and they were pretty panicked and nobody wanted to move. But I was able to get my salary every single month. So that, I think, is, I don't look at the commission check coming in. I look at the balance of my checkbook. And that is what motivates me, is I want a certain amount in that account, in order to, because I know how much I want to make every month. So that to me gives me a different view as to seeing it as a business than my being a sales agent.
That's awesome. Cool. Anyone else have anything else to share on that? Okay. So pages 33 through 35, mastering the game. This is, again, if anybody's ever taken Quantum Leap, Gary, and it's also in the 6 personal perspectives and in the one thing, there's mastery and there's self-mastery, right? First, you have to self-master. And then second, you have to master whatever it is you want to accomplish. And you have to do both. So self-mastery is hugely important. On pages 33 through 35, he said, the core concept is mastery in real estate requires understanding the broader game of the industry and continuously improving your personal approach. So the reflection question around that is, what steps can you take to master the game of real estate in your market? And how can you ensure continuous improvement? And when I think of this, I think of things like knowing what's going on in your market, understanding, is there companies leaving or going? Is there new business coming in? What's happening that's changing the mindset of people? Like COVID's a perfect example. When COVID hit, we didn't know whether people were going to, because everybody's scared. And there was a period of time when the market was like, we're not selling anything. And then all of a sudden, everybody's like, well, we don't have to live in our house because we can telecommute. And now, to me, my personal opinion is COVID saved the real estate industry, because if that had not happened, I don't know that we would not have gone to a downturn, because the end of the 2019 was showing that we were going to move towards a downturn. So the reflection, what steps can you take to master the game of real estate in your market, and how can you ensure continuous improvement? Anyone have anything they want to share on that?
I think just staying consistent and just having a set schedule and making sure you're following it and going to the team meetings or market center meetings, and that'll help you stay up to date on what's happening.
Absolutely. Anyone else? And that's one thing that absolutely, when you look at the training calendar, going to your market center meetings, hugely important. There's the language of real estate, right? There's all kinds of different things that you get from that. What's going on? What should you be aware of? It's one place where you get information in one fell swoop, and then you can research based on that. All right. Modeling, the cornerstone of success. Success leaves clues. By observing and modeling the behaviors and strategies of successful people, you can achieve similar results. Now we've talked about this already, right? Someone mentioned, who do I have to follow? Who do I need to mentor from? The reflection question on this is, who do you admire in your industry, and how can you model their success in your business?
For me, I really admire Ryan Serhant, and I'm trying to think of how I can answer the second question, but I'm not too sure yet.
Okay. Karen.
My mom used to say to me when I was growing up, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. So to somebody's point earlier on the call, watch who you hang out with. If you hang out with the agents that are productive and focused, you're going to be more productive and focused. If you're hanging around the water cooler talking about how crappy the market is, you're going to think the market's crappy. So just be mindful of who you're giving your time and attention to.
I love that. Anyone else?
I think this one actually really kind of hits home for me. I've been an agent for almost 7 years now, I think, and I've been with KW for about 3, but I never really took it seriously until I started seeing other people's success and them actually being able to do it. So following with Jennifer Sumrall and then obviously you, Tiffany, as of recent, like that was eye-opening for me, and now I've really been able to take it seriously. So this one really hits home. That it is true, depending on who you're around.
Absolutely, 100% agreed.
And I would like to add that, if I'm sure everybody that's probably on this call listens to a lot of, logs into a lot of Facebook things and podcasts, and recons and James Shaw and all that you have to remember, first of all, a lot of times, even the MREA podcasts, these are really high achieving. We can't compare ourselves to these people that are doing, 150 sides a year. We have to really understand you've got to take little nuggets to help improve your business. And you don't expect that you're going to be able to do all the things that they're doing. They've got large teams. They've done some things to get to where they are, but we can't do it all. And sometimes you get a little bit frustrated thinking, I'm doing something wrong because these people are also successful, and why can't I get to where they are? But you just have to pick and choose. You can't, like, we go back to the three legs of the stool, and don't get frustrated. Sometimes it can be a negative rather than a positive when you're bombarded with all of these very successful people on these calls. The ones that aren't doing well are the ones that never speak up. And there are a lot of agents that, are struggling. So it's nice when people do speak up and say, I'm having a real hard time with this. Just to know that everybody is not successful except for you. Sometimes that's the way it feels.
There's a couple of things on that. Number one, don't judge your insides by other people's outsides, because you never know the journey, and their journey may very much be different than your journey. And number two, they were all you at one point in time, and they all made choices that their business would look like it would look like. Everyone's journey is different. The cool thing about KW and other companies as well, and other not necessarily companies, but agents, they're willing to share. Take advantage of the share. And like you said, Kathleen, just take the pieces that you need for your business. Everything else, let it go, right? Because you are not them and they are not you. And this is your journey, and enjoy it. Absolutely. I love that.
The other thing is too, Tiffany, is it talks about having a stable foundation, putting models together. We just started putting together, or Mark helped, or is helping put together our procedure book and plan so that, you know, somebody could step in at some time down the road and they would have our plan of what to do.
And that's a great point, Melissa. The really cool, again, this is your business. You own this business. This is actually, if you do it right and you build the foundations right and you build your relationships right, where when they think of real estate, they think of you, it's actually a sellable item. So if you retire in 15 years, if you built that foundation right, whether you build a small business and stay a solo agent or a large business and you're a team that somebody else takes over, there's monetary value to that in 5 years or whatever, you can enjoy whether you sell it for a dollar amount or you get referral fees every time whoever you provide that database to, there's opportunity there. If you don't have the models and the systems at the base, you really don't have anything to sell. And there's no income based on all of the work that you put together building this business. That's huge. Thank you for that. So he talked about, I think it was a Tony Robbins book, if I remember. Yeah, The Unlimited Power. And he said there were four favorite passages in The Unlimited Power. And passage number 1 said, long ago, I realized that success leaves clues, that people who produce outstanding results do specific things to create those results, right? So the core of that is successful individuals follow specific actions that provide results. Observing these actions can guide your path to success. So what successful habits or practices have you observed in others that you can adopt? This question, I feel like we glance over, and this is worth answering here if you have an answer. And this goes into when you journal and you reflect, what's the answer to this? What successful habits or practices have you observed in others that you can adopt?
Tiffany, this is Charlene. I just wanted to add for this one, I think it comes down to scalability, like what you can actually realistically do, but also consistency. So it needs to be achievable and it needs to be done consistently until you could really move on.
Yeah, and the one thing, systems and models and technology gives us the opportunity for growth. Folks that don't have the systems, models, and technology in place immediately think they need to make a hire. When your systems, models, and technology are in place and you're quote unquote ready for that hire, just taking that one action gives you an opportunity that you may not need to make that hire for another 6 months. So I agree, and make sure you're looking at the habits of others and the practices of others, and then look at your habits and your practices and make sure that they're on the side of successful and not on the side of the 80% and not growing your business. I love that. Okay, passage number 2 says, actions are the source of all results. This process of discovering exactly and specifically what people do to produce a specific result is called modeling. And we're getting here, right? This is the models, the systems, and the technology. So your actions directly influence your outcomes. Consistently taking the right action leads to success. So personal reflection on this. What actions can you take today to move closer to your goals? Does anyone have anything that pops right out to them?
Make the dang calls.
I was just going to say that.
Truth. Yeah. Whatever, like I said, whatever happened, whatever programming went through when we were like 7 to today, get rid of it, throw it in the trash can, and just know nothing is impossible. Okay. Passage number 3 says, modeling is the pathway to excellence. The passage says, to me, modeling is the pathway to excellence. The movers and shakers of the world are often professional modelers, people who have mastered the art of learning everything they can by following other people's experience rather than their own. Modeling successful behaviors can fast track your learning and your results. This is and please, no offense, this is where people come into real estate and say, I'm going to build my business my way. I'm going to do it differently. No, stop that. The models and systems are there. build it off the models and systems, and then get creative on how you implement the model and systems. You do not have to reinvent your business. Like, it's been built. The models and systems are there, learn them, then get creative. So how can you learn from the best in your industry to improve your performance?
I do coffee dates with lots of successful agents, just asking, what did you do? And just for the reassurance that, it does take time and persistence and patience, and it just helps me keep going.
It's really as simple as just having those conversations, I feel like.
Okay.
I wouldn't mind going on a listing appointment with a couple of agents, and I think if I watch them, I might grow more confident.
So I think I wouldn't mind. Would like you to turn that into, in the next 2 weeks, how many agents am I going to reach out to schedule so I can shadow?
Oh, I really like that. Thank you.
Yeah, because one was a thought, the other was an action. When you have a thought like that, should it turn into an action? I love that. Okay. Number 4, passage 4, it says, to model excellence, you should be a detective, an investigator, someone who asks lots of questions and tracks down all the clues to what produces excellence. Building from success of others is one of the fundamental aspects of most learning. So success requires curiosity and investigation. Studying the experience of others can provide valuable insights. How can you learn from the best in your industry to improve your performance? And I think we answer that. Like, Polly, you answer that in saying, just go shadow some folks. Anyone else have any other thoughts on that? Okay. So stable versus unstable. And Melissa, this is what you had talked about previously, right? Having the operations manual. A business built on proven models is stable and sustainable, while one based on creativity alone is unstable and prone to failure. The key is to implement foundational models first and then innovate. What are you hearing on that? The reflection question is, how can you ensure that your real estate business is built on a stable foundation? What models can you implement to strengthen your business? Melissa gave us.
I was going to say, I think a lot of us think of a lot of great ideas, but you really have to ask the questions and research it and find out, and maybe even try it to see if it works.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If you start with that creativity, you're not really putting together a plan.
Right. And the cool thing, again, you're all part of KW. All the systems and models are created. One, you have to know where to find them. And if you don't, there's plenty of leadership to help you. And then number 2, you have to understand them. And number 3, you have to implement them. Right? Once you do that, that's where the stable comes and you're not unstable. And that takes time. A lot of folks get into this business and they don't think they have to give it time. They think it just magically happens. For us, that's that. Well, first off, I've been in the business since 97. I've been through 5 different shifts. This is my 5th one. And each time the market shifts, I have to change how I'm navigating my business. So whether you've been in the business one day or 27 years, you really have to figure that piece out. And then natural ability and achievement ceilings. This is the E to P in 6 personal perspectives. You got your entrepreneurial and you got your purposeful. So natural ability can only take you so far. Everyone eventually hits a ceiling of achievement and breaking through requirements, adopting new models and approaches, right? So I am naturally a high entrepreneur mindset. Like naturally I get really far. However, it wasn't until I started being purposeful and building the systems and models that I got even further. And unfortunately, it took me much longer than it should have. So what achievement ceiling have you encountered in your career and what strategies can you use to break through it?
My achievement ceiling as a newer agent is that I have only been able to do rental transactions, and I'm really wanting to get into the buyer side of transactions. Strategy, I guess, would say I joined a team to have a mentor to help me.
Good. Excellent. And then once you say, okay, that strategy, I did that, what's the next strategy? Okay. The 3 L's of the millionaire real estate agent. What are the 3 L's? They're there, but somebody say it for me before I read this.
Leads, leverage, and listings.
Yep. So the 3 pillars of a successful real estate business are leads, listings, and leverage. Leads are the lifeblood of the business. Listings are the highest leverage opportunity. And leverage allows you to maximize your time and results. So the personal reflection on this is which of the 3 L's do you need to focus on the most to grow your real estate business, and why?
All of them.
This is a good question. This is another one of those questions that you really need to, when you get the PowerPoint, reflect, because which of these 3 L's do you need to focus on the most to grow your real estate business? Depending on
You
where
probably
you,
need, I was going to say leads, right? So if you get leads, then they hopefully turn into listings. And then from listings, once you get so many of them, you should be getting what, two other deals from every listing. You then need to leverage it out so that you can continue to do what you do and have others help within your systems and models that you've set. So
yeah. And I would also say that the word in this is which one do you need to focus on the most? This probably changes based on where you are in your business, right? So you may at the beginning, you may this year it's leads, and then next year you've nailed that and now you're focused on the listings, and then you may have nailed that and now you're focused on leverage, and then you may the following year say, okay, I need to amp up my leads for whatever I desire to do next, right? I mean, those that know the math, there's a math equation for it. There's a certain number of real estate conversations that are needed in order to reach your goal. All right, we are going to stop here. So we hit to page 44. We're going to read to page 117. However, we're going to start at the next slide, which we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the 3 L's. Do we like how this layout of understanding the book?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So I am going to send you the recording. Tina is going to put it in a nice little frame, and I will send you the PowerPoint slides up to this slide. No cheating for next time. And if you have any questions or concerns, my email again is tiffanyhampton@kw.com. Just reach out to me, and I will see you all next week.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.